Supercoach buy, hold, risk itself for round 9. Welcome in, guys. We're going to kick it off down the bottom again and in the fullback position because it's a very contentious topic, and I think it's going to really change all the trades you're going to do this week and the trajectory there of your team over the next bunch of weeks. So the big name on everyone's lips is obviously Trey Fuller right now. We have Tommy Turbo, who has struggled a little bit, obviously, last game with a 55. Before that was really, really good. A couple of 80s and 100. So you're looking at both Turbo and Walsh, if you're looking at my squad here. And the situation sits there is they're both going to be playing Origin. They're both going to miss round 13. And then obviously, will they back up in round 14? Are you going to have one or both of them through the bye period? Are you going to sell come round 13? Are you going to sell before that? There's some of the questions you need to answer. So if you were to be in my situation and you were to be selling one of them, that's the question I'm asking myself this week, is if I want to get Fuller, if I want to go down that route and spend the money in other positions. Obviously, front row forward is a tough one at the moment with Terrell. Just frustrating us because, that was a position that we're hoping to lock up longer term. Center wings, we want to get as many guns as possible, but you want to keep guns in the fullback position. Reece Walsh has a tougher matchup against the Roosters this week, but then it gets easier for him over the next 3, whereas Tommy's got 2 nice matchups over the next 2, and then 2 tougher ones against the Broncos and then the Storm. So that's the questions you need to ask yourself with those 2 guys. But to be honest, most of the fullbacks are clear holds this week. Drinkwater either this week or next week is going to be an awesome buy. Yeah, he has a really high break even, obviously, which is frustrating after the 39 for owners that currently have him. But he has the Dolphins this week and a couple of nice matchups following that, obviously, which is really helpful, right? When you go Dolphins into Titans, South Tigers, into Roosters with a few of their guys out in Origin, that's a terrific kind of run. So Drinky's the guy to look at in that fullback position. Guys like Garrick, you can get a center wing. Gutho's out now for sort of 5 weeks or so he's a guy to move on. Teddy's getting really low, so he almost becomes a buy at $5.91. But do you want to buy another Origin type of player? So it's a position that's really the big thing that's sticking out right now is AJ Brimson at 617, but again, you can get him in the center wing. And then it is Trey Fuller. So he's at 204K. He's going to go massive score this week. I think Aman put it out that if he gets to 57 this week, it's 150 odd K. If he happens to average anything over 60, he's going to make about 270, 280. And then, if he averages 70 plus or something, then he could do incredibly well. It's a little bit different to the Buller situation in the fact that Buller had a longer runway, whereas Fuller's going to be in and out of the team dependent on when Hammer's back, depending on exemptions, depending on, as I said, when Hammer's there, is he going to play the major buys? Likely. But, there's a few question marks around him. It's a risk that I think you can definitely take. You've got Dylan Edwards there at 914K. Wow, he's absolutely smashing it. Chance as well at 756. There's so many fullback options. Do you want to spend down in that position when a lot of these guys are terrific options? And I suppose the biggest thing here is that it's very hard outside of Edwards and Drinkwater. Most of these guys are going to be out in round 13, and then maybe someone like a Chance is a terrific buy in round 14. So plenty to think about. Trey Fuller. How long does he maintain his spot in your side? Do you decide to do it? He makes a lot of money. Do you want that right now? Or are you looking for straight points? Because I think points-wise, he's going to do well also, especially against the Cowboys here. So it's a very, very interesting situation and one that I hope, I helped you out with making that. But I think if you've got issues in other parts of your side, you can go down to, in your center wing, you can go down to an Armstrong or a Jacob Gagai this week. Both of those guys at bottom dollar can really help you out as well. Armstrong, you'd be getting him. I think you probably play him as well, but you'd be getting 1 week early before his price changes as well. So if you didn't want to drop down in your fullback position, you could drop down your center wings from a Schiller, a Strange, Burbo. I think you'd hold Talangi at this point. There's a chance that he comes back and plays fullback for Gutho next week. So they're the options for the cash down. And then you have Samuel Lafinu as a bit of a cash down in the front row forward position. So keep that in mind and in your thoughts if you would like to do that. It's definitely something that is a fairly solid option in my opinion, for sure. And outside of that, Plath is a really cool lower to mid-range option. And we'll speak about Connor Watson as well. But that's the center wing position right now. It's Armstrong or Gagai. Gagai against Panthers, bit of an average team. If you want cash this week, and you don't want to get Fuller, don't want to stuff up the fullback position, then Gagai is the one. But is that another guy that you might have to trade out in the next few weeks as well? Or do you go for Armstrong and take that risk and that you can get probably a decent score out of him? You can play him this week. He's going to make cash next week if he keeps the spot, which sounds like if he continues to play well, he will keep the spot. And that's the one there. If he plays well, he's going to score well for you in Supercoach, and he's also going to keep his spot and will be a solid guy over the bye period. Or you can wait till next week. Not a problem at all. You see there in the center wings, I obviously got Tungo last week, and at 6'10 now, he's an even better buy than he was last week. Played one of the worst games I've seen in his career last week, and up against the Bunnies this week. Cleary kind of getting into his work a little bit, warming up last week. I do think that he can be a good one. Obviously there on the right-hand side, Alamotti got some work, got some love last week, which worked out for him on that right wing. You've got To'o, who did a great job last week as well, and Taylor May still can't get any attacking stats either. So it does seem to be split well around the team, whether it's through the middles. Obviously, Edwards is getting a lot of the spoils rather than the outside backs. He's going through for tries himself rather than more try assists and the like. But Taruva seemed to be getting a lot of the work on the right-hand side too. So there you go. Val Holmes, probably the best scorer you can buy this week for the next month of football. So that's obviously non-price dependent. He's the guy you should be targeting, in my opinion, with the one of the best averages there at 82.6. He's third on the list there. Armstrong's played one game, so he's second on the list basically behind Ronaldo. And then you've got Manu and Lomax behind that. I definitely think that Holmes is the guy. They have a really nice run. He should be able to continue to do well, and he's doing well against good teams in that as well. So Val Holmes, number one. Ruben Garrick is the next one on the list, 604k. He has a break even of 4 this week, so he's going to go up. And he has 2 nice games. I think DCE playing really helps him out, so look to get Garrick as much as you can. At 604k, it's not the hardest guy to get in at this point of the season. I said Armstrong at the cheaper end. Mulatalo, I think without Trindle there, it hurts him a bit, so I expect him to drop a bit, especially after this week. It gets a little bit harder for the Sharkies there. And there's a few other options in there. Obviously, Dane Gagai is a really fun one to look at. You've got Brian To'o. If you're not worried about Origin, you feel like you haven't got many Origin guys and you want just good scores over the next month, I do think Brian To'o is the way at 640 odd, which is cool. So if you go there through the round 8 scorers, good scorers of that. Ramian, I think, is a bit of a tough one to grab. Just under 600k. It's pretty expensive still. Same with Sione Katoa. Big games for them. Asako, I think, is more of a long-term buy and hold. So you could do that if you like. But Dane Gagai is 658. With the goal kicking, I think he's a really good purchase. And again, a longer-term purchase. You get him through the buy period. Plays 13, 14, 17, 19, 20. If he's not in Origin, which if Hammer's back, he won't be in Origin. That's for sure, with Val Holmes on the other side. So he's definitely a guy to look at as well. And I'm tempted by him. Meany still lost some money after his 84. I think he'll have another decent week, but defensively he's got to sort a few things out. If Storm continue to work it out as they did on the weekend and score lots of points, then Meany will continue to do well with the goal kicking, not playing Origin. So I grabbed him in the head-to-head team last week, and that worked out well. And obviously had Pap as well in the fullback slot. Make sure you have Kale Iro. It's not too late to grab onto him. So do that there in that one. All right, I'll leave that center wing position as is. I think you want to try and get at least 5 really good players. Iro can be included in one of them. Even 6 with Iro, I think works out, and maybe a Talangi or something cheap, Armstrong or something like that. Or you can go leave Strange this week and then get Armstrong next week. If you've used trades in other positions, that could be definitely the way. Galvin and Brown, I think, is a pretty safe combination right now. I'm very happy to play Galvin this week against an easier opponent, with him being on the left-hand side, not the dreaded right. Against the Doggies, I think he should be able to score well, and I'm happy to play him this week. Cam Munster, 148. He can definitely continue to get great scores. Do you want to grab him now this close to Origin? That's your prerogative, your decision that you need to make on that one. If you do need a 5'8" or a second row forward cheapie, Max Plath is the guy, cheapie mid-ranger, 447k. should be able to do a really nice job going forward with the minutes available. I'm expecting him to have around about a 60 average going forward. And if that's the case, it's 100 or so thousand to make. And yeah, he's going to, I think, be really helpful through the bye period as well. So yeah, bloke that can make some money, get some decent scores in 2 different positions if you need the dual. He's cool. Dearden could go on a good run as well. Obviously, the Cowboys are in a good position for him to do well on that front. Matt Burton, the other next guy on the list that you probably want to think about, but very expensive now at $770. So do you want to spend that type of money on someone that could be a little bit up and down, but plays so many important games there across the season? The Doggies do. And as Panthers the following week, but nice games with Canberra and Dragons and Newcastle in and around that. So definitely not the worst pick. Covers both 5'8" and halfback there. With your halfback position, if you've got Hughes, if you've got Johnson, I still think that they're good holds. As I said, if Cleary outdoes them, which I think he will this week, how much more is it going to be? Is he going to be a 130, 140? That would hurt a little bit, but if it's 110 and Hughes and SJ go like 80 or 90, then it's no sweat at all. So I don't know if it's worth that trade with other fires in your squads, but make sure you have Hines. I think we're going to be sticking the captaincy on him again. Outside of those guys, and if you have Burton or something like that, maybe you can move Burton to 5'8" and get Cleary in from there. But again, it would be another Origin guy. How many trades do you have left? Are you pumping through that? Just think about all of those types of things there. And then Sam Walker at 530. Like if you again don't want to go all the way up to Cleary, then you could definitely go for Sam Walker. And I did forget Luke Brooks as well. Like he's frustrating at the moment. He's down to 480k, not scoring super well apart from that one game in like round 2. So he's someone you could sell or hold. The question mark some people might have would be Luke Brooks or Ethan Strange. Which one do I sell? And with Strange having the higher break even, he's probably the easiest one to move on this week. With Manly having a nice matchup there as well, that's something to think about as well. So with Strange coming up against some tough opponents there, obviously it's a tough one to think about. They play each other. And you would expect Brooks to score a bit better, but Strange is dominated. And do you want him to lose a bunch of the gains? And I think you have to analyze it based on how many trades you have and what can you do in this certain week and situation. That's for sure. It's tough. That's for sure. All right, 2RF, Katoa, Fermor, Crichton. Crichton's a clear buy. You must have him. Katoa, a little bit lighter now at 693, which is cool. Both Fermor hold, not buying. Kaipi's Paul, you're holding and playing again this week. Chan, I think you hold again one more week. A fairly low break even still, I believe. Yeah, 20, so he'll make some more money, hopefully. And then you could move him on next week if something pops up, that's for sure. If you have a centre wing, you can move up to 2RF and get an Armstrong from Chan. That could work too. Smitty's 500k. I think he's a clear hold. He's not crazy high break even at 65. He'll stick around that price longer term. I think he's not going to go much higher than 500, but that's a fine situation right now with Smithies. Obviously, as I said, Plath is someone you can go to if you don't have, like in my situation right now, I don't really think any of them are sells, so I'm not going to get Plath in my team, but you could obviously go for him. Samuel Afino, I think you'd be better off using him in the front row forwards. Could also wait on him. He's got a higher break even after you end up losing a couple of K as well after having a fairly low break even, just didn't score very well. Dave Fafita would be the guy in the top tier that you'd want to target. Outside of that, I just don't think you go for top tier guys. And Fafita, a month before Origin, could come out and absolutely crush it and do really good for your team. That right-hand side defensively for Melbourne's been poor. So Fafita's definitely an easy option. An expensive one, but should be able to do great things coming into this week, that's for sure. Shawnee Bloor up another 33k, 132 on total. I think that 578 now. You can leave him with not playing round 13. Decide on him in round 14 if he kind of hovers around this and maybe has like some solid scores and that attack in points are to come, then you could grab him there. Josh Curran, again, one of those guys that at 549, averaging 60, still no real attacking stats. He had a couple of line break assists in round 2 or 3, but outside of that, nothing's happened. He's definitely one you can look at. Same with Jeremiah Nanai, a really nice month for him. Could score well, but he's so up and down. Like he's averaging 58.8 there with a couple of big scores. So yeah, he's frustrating to own just with the inconsistency. Preston likely to come back. Bateman not high enough scores in the middle. Needs more attacking stats. Connor Watson's a big one. If you want a hooker, if you want to get rid of Lussick or Appy, you've rage trading one of them, Levi, then I do think Connor Watson, there's a high chance that he sticks in this 13 role. And if he does, he's going to score great in Supercoach. I think he'll be able to get to about a 550 or so and cover 2RF and the hooking position. So keep him in your mind there. And then Sean Lane's probably another one that you could hold or sell. I think with the buy, it's not an issue at that front. Finafiliaki, really nice score on the weekend. That helped out his money making, something fierce. Like he's up 128 now after being, 300, just under 300k. It's worked out for owners in the end, and hopefully you still were able to play him. And he came out and got a good score. Brennan Pikura, 55, was solid. I wouldn't look to buy or sell at this point. And that's it, I think, for 2RF. And then the front row forward position, if Terrell May is the guy you want to sell, if it's Xavier Willison, you're happy with the 80 odd K that he made. And the thing is with them too, he's fairly close to that of May. So if you have enough cash in the bank, maybe Willison is the trade over May, because we know that May has more opportunity to get bigger minutes. It's not happening at the moment, but if there is an injury in that front row forward pack, then he's going to be the guy that steps up back to a 50-minute role, and he's a keeper again. So I do understand the thought of holding him an extra week or two and seeing what happens, copping some of that price drop, and hopefully some better scores again. If he does get back to even 40 minutes, we know he can get like a 50 average in 40 minutes with some offloads, with some tackle breaks and the like. So up to you what you want to do in that front row forward position. I'm tempted to hold, but also could easily upgrade. And I do think if you are upgrading, there's only really a few options to go to, and it's Adam Fanua-Blake at the top. He's 16k short of where he started the year at, but with him, no origin, he has these games in him where he can score tries. He has a low break even after this one, so you're getting him a little bit cheaper than what he will be over the next few weeks, right? And we know he has every opportunity to score tries on a weekly basis, and he did it last year. He's going to continue doing it because they put him in positions to do so. So he's the best option. You've got guys like Josh Curran. I'd have him over Jack DeBellin as a buy. Right now, Thomas Hazelton, if he keeps scoring tries, he'll be cracking and doing good things. Joe Tarpany maybe after round 10, but not now. And then Max King's probably the other one at 587, along with Jamin Jolliffe. They're the two, and then Samuel Alafino. King obviously plays around 13, 14, 16, so he'd probably be just the better pick than Jamin Jolliffe for that reason alone. But Jamin's scoring great in base stats as well. Don't expect obviously too many tries and the like from him. He's already got a couple. Usually averages come back together, that he falls back to the average, I should say. And so there's probably that with Jolliffe, but still solid on that front. Jensen's more likely a sell, but you don't have to this week. Like he got 31, he probably gets back to the 30 odd to 40 type of scores. So there's that to think about. Mo Fodawaker out this week, leave him alone for one more week. Lindsay Collins, we're not looking at. Griffin Neame, not a good enough score, and leave it at that. For that situation, we spoke about Watson potentially being a buy in the 2RF or the hooking position. And that's where you could go, obviously, here. Everyone else, Reid Marnie, potentially a buy, but he's still very expensive. Similar to that with Jeremy Marshall-King. Reid's gone up 100k. Do you want that? Jeremy Marshall-King, a good player over the buy period as well. They're the two that we're probably going to want. One of them, Wade Egan, solid, got 50 last week. Didn't play very well. Hopefully has a bounce back game. Harry Grant was awesome. Do you want to grab him now? And then you'd hold for the rest of the year, in my opinion, with Grant. You're not buying him now to sell him in a month with the trades that we have left. So, if that's good enough for you at 654, that works great. And, you can easily hold him all year. Jaden Brayley is the other big one, obviously. So around 8 points for him, got a 65, mainly in base and offload in there, and some running in there, which was good. And he picked up at 380k. He's going to start going up a good amount of cash. You can easily wait one more week and go Lussick to him then, if that's what you want to do. And he looks like he's going to pump out some 50s and 60s type of scores in 80 minutes. So there's that. And outside of that, no one really is standing out. I think Appy's a hold. I'm going to be doing that and playing him. And really, we'll leave it at that. Danny Levi, you can sell as well. You can go straight to Brayley. That's an easy one. I think we'll leave it at that, guys. Thank you so much for being here for the Supercoach Buy Hold Risk Itself for round 9. I wish you all the best of luck. It's a very tough week. There's lots of buys. There's lots of sells. And we're all running out of trades very quickly. So if you have the opportunity to boost one more time, or two more times like myself, then that could be a good week for it. And it's the big decision on Trey Fuller. And I think and Terrell May. If you get him to Adam Fanua-Blake and Fanua-Blake gets a 70 odd average and May's like the 30 mark for the next bit, then there's a lot of points. And can you get good scores out of Fuller over the next few weeks, and offset that with obviously his price, using that money to upgrade your centre wings and front row forwards, which is potentially what I'm looking to do. Downgrade one of those two guys, get a Garrick, and then potentially go Terrell or Xavier Willison up to Adam Finnell-Blake. That's my potential thoughts going into this week. Let me know where you are at, and I hope you have a great week of Supercoach in round 9.